New on the music scene, REO Speedwagon offers an album of their greatest hits from the past 2 decades. But band members Kevin Cronin and Bruce Hall are not resting with the album's release.
Kevin Cronin, the iconic singer and songwriter behind REO Speedwagon. Now, at 73, Cronin is ready to share the details of all that we have been expecting, from the backstage drama to the creative struggles that tore the band apart. Join us as we unveil every detail. Kevin Cronin has been an iconic figure in the music industry for decades now. He has been known for his iconic performances and vocals as the lead singer of the rock band REO Speedwagon. While Cronin's talent and musical abilities are widely recognized, there have been many details and speculations about him, his time in the band, and the fate of the band. Cronin's big break came in 1972, just when he joined REO Speedwagon, which had already formed in 1967. Cronin then became the band's lead singer and primary songwriter, contributing to the band's rise to fame in the late 70s and early 80s. As a member of the band, his voice and songwriting skills played a key role in their success, with hits like Keep On Loving You, Take It On The Run, and Can't Fight This Feeling. These were some of the iconic songs that helped the band achieve major commercial success, with High Infidelity, which was released in 1981, becoming the band's most successful album, and was able to reach #1 on the charts alongside selling over 10 million copies worldwide, making it one of their best-selling albums. Kevin Patrick Cronin was born on the 6th of October, 1951, and is from the suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. He was born in north suburban Evanston, but grew up in southwest suburban Oak Lawn, where he learned to play guitar. As a young child, he attended St. Linus Catholic Elementary School, after which he went on to graduate from Brother Rice High School in Chicago. Growing up, Cronin's mother was a social worker, while his father, on the other hand, was working in the newspapers. By the time he was 7, his parents adopted 3 children. He started playing guitar in bands when he was 14 years old. His very first professional band at that time was named Fuchsia. The band REO Speedwagon started partially in the fall of 1966, when Neil Doty was just beginning an electrical engineering program at the University of Illinois in Champaign, Illinois, as a junior. On his first night of classes, he was able to meet a fellow student named Alan Gratzer. At that time, Doughty had learned some Beatles songs on his parents' piano, while Gratzer, on the other hand, had been a drummer in local bands since high school. The two of them, at that time, decided to hold an impromptu jam session in the basement of their Illinois Street Residence Hall dormitory. While that went on, Gratzer kept on performing with his band, and Doughty, too, was turning up at local gigs. While it was getting close to the last day of the university's spring semester, guitarist Joe Matt and the other members like Gratzer and bassist Mike Blair had decided to start a new band with Doughty. As the new band started fully in 1967, they made a list of songs to learn over the summer break, while Doughty, on the other hand, landed a summer job and bought his first organ. With his new organ, he was able to learn a few songs by the Doors. By that time, the members decided to return to school in the fall of 1967 and had their first rehearsal as a band right before their classes started. As the band went on, they named the band REO Speedwagon. The name of the band was coined from the REO Speedwagon, a 1915 truck designed by Ransom Eli Olds. The name came about when Doughty saw the name written on the blackboard when he walked into his History of Transportation class, and somehow that was the first day they decided to look for a name. Following the formation and the naming of the band, an advertisement in the school newspaper produced their very first job, which was for a fraternity party that later turned into a food fight. As time went on, the band continued to perform cover songs in campus bars, local parties, and university events. By the break of 1968, the band brought in Terry Luttrell, who then became the lead singer, while Bob Crownover soon joined them as the guitarist, replacing Matt after he graduated. As mid-1968 approached, Mike Blair left the band while Greg Philbin replaced Blair, and Joe McCabe played sax until he moved on to Southern Illinois University. With all of the changes going on, lots of replacements and changes took place before it eventually got to Kevin Cronin joining the band. One time, it was recorded that Gary Richrath had driven 100 miles just to see the band and become a part of it. According to him, he mentioned that he was going to be a part of the band whether they liked it or not. He was an Illinois-based guitarist and songwriter who brought original compositions to the band. During the time he was with the band's popularity within the region was able to grow so much. Aside from that, just while their popularity was going up, the St. Louis-based radio station KSHE, which was one of America's most influential rock stations at that time, started supporting the band's popularity and was able to showcase them outside the Midwestern region, where they had a strong following. By the break of 1971, Epic Records then decided to sign the band to a recording contract after Paul Lika, an East Coast record producer, saw them play before an outdoor crowd during a rainstorm. This particular incident led him to bring the band to his recording studio in Bridgeport, Connecticut, where they were able to record their original material for their very first album. The lineup on the first album was made up of Richrath, Gratzer, Dowdy, Philbin, and Luttrell. In the early days, the band was managed by their University of Illinois classmate Irving Azoff, who later became one of the most powerful people in the recording industry. As time went on, the band started playing at bars and clubs all over the Midwest with their debut album, which was titled REO Speedwagon and was released on Epic Records in October 1971. At that time, although the rest of the band's lineup remained stable, REO Speedwagon replaced their lead vocalist 3 times for their first 3 albums, with Luttrell leaving the band in early 1972. His departure at this time led to the addition of Kevin Cronin to the band. As a member of the band, Cronin recorded 1 album with the band, but after the album, he decided to leave during the recording sessions for their 1973 album, Riding the Storm Out, due to internal conflicts and his frequent habits of skipping rehearsals. Due to Cronin's departure, the album Riding the Storm Out was completed with Michael Brian Murphy on lead vocal, and he ended up staying for 2 more albums, Lost in a Dream, released in 1974, and This Time We Mean It, released in 1975. By the break of January 1976, Cronin decided to return to the band and recorded REO, which was released in July of that same year. However, it was speculated at that time that Cronin's return came after Greg X. Voles turned down the position of being the lead vocalist after he became a Christian, stating that his faith doesn't permit him to contribute to their style of music. By the break of 1977, the band went on to convince Epic Records that its strength as a band was in live performances. Due to these suggestions, Epic Records then agreed to let them produce the band's first live album in January 1977, which was eventually certified platinum. Well, in that same year, while the band was making waves, they decided to move to Los Angeles. REO Speedwagon had several hits on the Billboard Hot 100 throughout the 1970s and 1980s, including 2 chart toppers written by Cronin, which were titled Keep On Loving, You, released in 1980, and Can't Fight, This Feeling, released in 1984. Even though the band's success hit its peak during this period, with its most famous album, High Infidelity, which sold over 10 million copies. Over the years, Cronin has stated in various interviews that as a band, they play for free but get paid for traveling. During this same peak period of the band, Cronin appeared in an advert that featured tracks by REO Speedwagon, mostly from the 80s when the band enjoyed their greatest success. That wasn't all of the success Cronin enjoyed. He appeared on the Netflix original series Ozark, along with bandmates from REO Speedwagon in episode 3 of season 3, titled Kevin Cronin Was Here. They performed Time for Me to Fly, and this particular performance and popularity of the show led to a rise for the band on the Billboard charts in April of 2020. As a person, Cronin is known for his humble and commanding presence in concerts. During an interview one time, he was asked about how he managed to remember so many cities while touring. In response, he mentioned that if an artist doesn't know what city they are in when playing a concert, then it's embarrassing for such an artist. Further describing how the fans that are coming to the concert expect that the artist should somehow be connected with them. So to him, whenever he is in a city, he tries to go out of his way to go for brief walks, read the local paper, and talk to people within that place. Well, with all of the sweet memories that came with the band and Kevin Cronin's time, also came a big blow that would eventually lead to their end. Well, this was more like the end of a long road, and what most fans have been suspecting for some time. Let's get into all the details. By the break of January 2024, the band announced that REO Speedwagon would tour in the summer road trip tour, hitting 44 cities. By September of the same year, 2024, the band announced that they would cease touring by the end of the year. By December of the same year, Cronin announced the end of the band and his time in the band, and that he and his touring lineup would continue under a different name. It has been speculated that the touring band would consist of guitarist Dave Amato, drummer Brian Hitt, keyboardist Derek Hilland, and bassist Matt Bissonette. To lovers and fans of the band, REO Speedwagon, this news came as a big hit considering how far the band has come. Running through as a band for over 40 years, and all of a sudden, they've decided to call it quits, and it appears that all fingers seem to be pointing to one person who might be blamed for this. Although Cronin left the band briefly in the 70s due to internal conflicts, he rejoined REO Speedwagon in 1976, and since then, he has remained with the band throughout their most successful period. All through his time in the band, both as a performer and a songwriter, there's no doubt that Cronin has helped define the band's sound, blending rock, pop, and power ballads into a melody that has connected with a broad audience and fans globally. Aside from being a member of the band, throughout his career, Cronin has also taken the path of a successful solo career and has been able to collaborate with various artists even while he continued to perform with REO Speedwagon, touring, and recording new music. Cronin's contribution to rock music, particularly with REO Speedwagon, has been able to establish his place as one of the prominent figures of the 70s and 80s rock music industry. His personal and professional life has been marked by his dedication to music, perseverance through challenges, and a long-lasting presence in the music industry. In addition to his success with REO Speedwagon, Cronin has also worked as a producer. He has appeared on numerous television shows and is known for his engaging and energetic live performances. Despite various lineup changes in REO Speedwagon over the years, Cronin has remained with the band, and they continue to tour, maintaining a loyal fan base. Well, recently, REO Speedwagon singer and guitarist Kevin Cronin has decided to reveal the details surrounding the sudden and surprising news that the band will end touring. Cronin revealed that he will always hold out hope that REO Speedwagon can be rescued. According to him, he mentioned that the band is his life's work, and he would never do anything except what he feels is in the band's best interests, assuring the fans of his love for them, and the band describing how he is ready to give his full loyalty and support for any shows related to the band. That's if there will be any in the future ever again. The band, on the other hand, had announced that they would stop touring due to irreconcilable differences. Aside from that, it was also stated that the band issued a statement describing how Bruce Hall had intended to be back on the road again with the band, but somehow the collective opinion was that he had not recovered fully enough to be able to perform at the level the fans had come to expect. Bruce respected that opinion and was somehow grateful that Matt had been around to keep things rolling all through the summer tour. They went further to disclose that as a member of the band, Bruce never had any intention of retiring or walking away from the band, fans, and crew he has loved for almost 50 years. But somehow, due to complex situations as a result of irreconcilable differences between Bruce and Kevin, the band would have to come to an end, sadly, and would cease from touring. Meanwhile, with all of the conflicts and group split going on, Bruce Hall has revealed that as an artist and a member of the band, he never thought it would end like this. He further described how heartbroken he feels, emphasizing how he and Neil did everything in their power to try and keep the band rolling. Before this time, Bruce Hall underwent back surgery in November 2023. By the following year, it was disclosed that he was feeling better every day and had been cleared by my doctor to perform. It was also stated that he was receiving physical therapy and singing lessons and had no intention of retiring or walking away from the band. At the time when Bruce Hall took medical leave for his back surgery, upon his recovery, Hall expressed a strong desire to return to the band, aiming to continue with the lineup that included Cronin, guitarist Dave Amato, drummer Brian Hitt, and keyboardist Derek Hilland. Well, unfortunately, this was more like the beginning of the end for the band. Kevin Cronin, on the other hand, did not share the same view about Hall rejoining the lineup. He preferred to continue with the current touring members, all of which led to a disagreement between the two. Cronin expressed his sadness and anger over the situation, stating that he never expected REO Speedwagon to end before his career was over. All of these disagreements resulted in the band's decision to end their touring activities, marking a significant change for the group and their fans. By the time the band finally decided to bid farewell to their decades of an iconic career, frontman Kevin Cronin vowed to carry on the spirit of REO Speedwagon. However, it has been speculated that he might not be permitted to do so under the name and identity of REO Speedwagon. Fast forward to January 2025, the lead vocalist and rhythm guitarist made his solo debut in Thackerville, Oklahoma. However, Cronin will be doing all of this under his name rather than the name of the band. Cronin also revealed that during the time Matt replaced Hall, Hall still retained ownership in REO Speedwagon, along with Kevin Cronin and keyboardist Neil Doughty. Initially, Hall was supposed to return to touring by March 2024, but the doctors pushed back that date several times before the musician decided to sit out the rest of the 2024 tours as long as he was paid in full. Cronin further stated that by the time Hall mentioned that he would be ready to come back in 2025, he came putting demands in place, further describing that there were several demands, but two in particular of which one of them it would have been irresponsible for him to go along with, and the other one he couldn't agree to, and as such the group had to hit a stopping point. He also mentioned that the quitting of the band ended in a 2-to-1 vote to retire the name REO Speedwagon on the touring map. But as for him, he has no intention to stop performing the songs he wrote for REO Speedwagon, such as Time for Me to Fly and Keep on Loving You, clearly stating that they would always be part of his list. He further emphasized on fact that nobody can stop him from singing these songs, playing those songs, and giving the fans what they want. Aside from that, he also mentioned that if anyone wants the REO Speedwagon experience, there's only one place they're going to get it, and that's the Kevin Cronin Band. As part of setting up the future of his band, Cronin also recently debuted his new official website and social media pages. Alongside the launch of the websites, as part of a new beginning for him, he posted a note reflecting on his longtime band and plans, having in mind that during the late 70s and through the 80s, Alan Gratzer, Neil Doughty, Bruce Hall, the late great Gary Richrath, and himself all formed what their loyal REO Speedwagon fans have come to call the classic REO lineup. Cronin's message stated that these current bumps on the road cannot alter their legacy or even try to take away any of what they have accomplished together or change what that music means to their fans. He went further to emphasize the point that he would continue to do his part in making sure Gary's songs live on forever. And as the rest of them head off down their separate paths, he wishes everyone only the best in their future adventures and endeavors. To most of the fans, this was a great loss, looking at a great band that most of them have grown up with. It seems there's a lot of passionate feelings and speculation surrounding the breakup of REO Speedwagon, especially when it comes to Kevin Cronin's role in the decision. Many fans are deeply affected by the drama, and the idea of the band possibly splitting up is heartbreaking. On the other hand, Cronin's future might end up being successful as a solo artist, but it's hard to imagine him not performing REO hits. His connection to the band is so strong that it could be hard for him to skip the songs. Also, it could be an issue legally for him to perform the band's music without some sort of authorization. The bond within the band was real, and the love and support from the crew have always been unwavering. The band was more like a family, one that shared a deep affection for each other. So this must be difficult, as there were close relationships involved. It's truly a tragedy, because there was a chance to work this out, but it seems that Kevin wanted to move on, while Bruce wanted REO Speedwagon to continue to tour with a lineup of Cronin, himself, Dave, Brian, and Derek, just as it was before his successful back surgery. After Bruce recovered from his back surgery and was cleared to play again, he and Cronin went back and forth for months, trying to reach an agreement about Bruce's return. Sadly, they never found common ground, and it became clear that Cronin wasn't willing to move forward with Bruce in the band. Watching Bruce and Neil navigate this painful situation was both heartbreaking and inspiring. All they wanted was for the band to return to the 2023 lineup, and Bruce was determined to do a huge farewell tour. He envisioned bringing in special guests like Neil, so they could give the band the send-off they had always dreamed of. Over time, though, it became clear that the band had transformed into more of a Kevin Cronin project, especially after Neil stepped away, leaving it to be primarily Kevin's band somehow. It has been speculated that a lot of fans are going to resent him because it appears that all fingers keep pointing towards him for breaking up a truly great American band who really should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame by now, after being eligible since 1997. At 73, Kevin Cronin has finally revealed what fans had long suspected: the split within REO Speedwagon, and after months of tension, drama, and discussions with bassist Bruce Hall, they could not come to an agreement. Bruce cleared from his back surgery, was eager to return, but Cronin didn't want him back in the band due to personal differences and conflicting visions for the group's future. Cronin felt the band had evolved without Hall, and he wasn't ready to return to the previous lineup. This disagreement marked the end of their collaboration, leaving many fans heartbroken. Well, no matter what, REO Speedwagon's legacy is defined by its contributions to classic rock, with timeless hits that continue to connect with fans through emotional lyrics and choruses that have been able to earn them a loyal following that will stay for generations. Despite the recent split in the band, their impact on rock music remains undeniable. Their legacy is based on their successes, passionate fan base, and their unforgettable sound. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.